Yo, make sure you subscribe to that Brooklyn Arcade page. We moving 400 subscribers already. You heard, another month or so, man. I'll be at that 1,000 mark, get that monetized, and I really start clobbering the game with extreme 80s games. You heard? Z-Man Suicide Polo with the ski, man. We just out here moving. That's all we doing, man. Moving and shaking, baby. We out here. You heard? Subscribe to the channel now. You heard? And you already know me and the bro Ayatollah, we in that lab cooking up that heat. You feel what I'm saying? Go to the Gem Pop music page. Hear the newest, latest songs. They fire. I'm going to be releasing another one in a couple of days. Every song, fire. And that's a fact. That Lazatola album is hitting. Brooklyn, Queens, BQE on this. You heard? We on the BQE on this collab. You heard? Z-Boy. Yeah, that's me in the lab, man. Shout out to the bro, Know the Ledge, for the artwork. You understand what I'm saying? That's me in my little lab putting things together. My little different items. You heard? My little different items and devices and things of that nature. I be putting that heat out, bro. Music, video, all that. I gets it in. You heard? So if you need a collab, get at me. 24-hour turnaround on that. You heard? If you need promo on a channel, 2 for $5 sale going on.
I pick up a chair, I'm swinging this motherfucker all around. I'm cracking shit. I ain't get hit. You know what I mean? But I'm moving. I'm saying it's all these adult motherfuckers. Remember, I'm 17. You know what I mean? I'm little. I'm skinny. You know what I mean? But alright, boy, I was going through my pictures, the pictures that I was going to send you last to put up on this story. And going through my pictures, you know, some of them shits is wild old, some of them shits I ain't seen in years. It's the only thing I brought home with me when I came home from up top. And, you know, I'm seeing faces that I ain't seen in a minute. And one kind of stood out to me, and I just want to give him a quick shout out before I get into this part 3, you know, with the big yard where we left off. And the kid that I'm talking about, man, he from Harlem. His name is Bob. And I never got a chance to meet him in the street. But it's like we grew up in the system together. And from DFY, before DFY, Sparfit, then DFY, then the 4 building. I never seen him. I was in population. He was in the Bing by the time I got there and shit. And I remember he used to be like, yo, I'd be like, what's up, kid? I used to see him in the hallway. He was Predicate. And told me about some kid named Baby J he cut, and Baby J cut him back, or vice versa, or whatever. But he was like, yo, man, these Brooklyn niggas giving me a hard time up there, man. Yo, Brooklyn niggas, you know what I mean? And pardon me for the N-word. People know I don't use that. That's just me quoting him. But anyway, and then we was up north together. We was in the stock together. We was in Auburn together. But the reason why, you know, I'm taking this moment to give him a shout out, because, you know, he passed away because of unfortunate incident. Allegedly, he was on a visit. Police ran down on him. Allegedly, he swallowed something. They took him to the shit room. For those that don't know what the shit room is, it's when police be in front of your cell all day. You don't got no toilet in there. You know, you shit in a bucket, and they go through your shit. Whatever coming in, they expect for the shit to come out. And that's, you want to stay in that shit room till it come out. And, but from what I heard, whatever they said he swallowed busted his stomach, and he died because of it. You know what I mean? So, I just wanted to give a little shout out to him, salute, you know, rest in peace to him and shit. That was really a friend of mine. And that shit kind of touched me a little bit, you know what I mean? So when I seen this picture, I was like, oh shit, you know what I mean? And that bring me memory of other dudes that I was in DFY with. And, you know, your lads, my boy H.O., that's your bro, my bro. Hamo, you know, Mac Murder, of course, I mentioned him already. A from Red Hook. You had my son J Diamonds. Dennis the Menace from the Q Borough. Troy from the Q Borough. That's the one that had that incident with John Rule. Who else? Oh, you had this other kid named Lance White. He was a fighting motherfucker too. But he lost one back in junior high school with this kid named Agar from Far Rockaway too, man. Agar got the best of him, but he was a fighting motherfucker. We went through the system together too, starting from Sparkman. Who else? This kid named Kobe from Staten Island. Shout out to Kobe. I ain't seen him in forever. Who else? Kid named Rod. We ended up having a fallout later on down the line in Corrections. We was in DFY together. Another kid I had a fallout with named Junglist. Most of y'all might know him as Little Jamaican Curtis. And you know that we was wilding in DFY. One of the last conversations that I remember me and Bub having, Bub used to always tag up 108th and Lex. We used to always have our little Brooklyn and Harlem friendly debates and shit. You know what I mean? But I remember one day we was walking around the yard and shit, and he was like, yo, he brought up this DFY shit. I remember most of the story well, where we was throwing erasers and garbage pails and chairs and anything we could grab at the teacher that was holding a session of shit one day. I remember that day he brought that shit up, and he was like, I remember that he said some racist shit, but I don't remember quite what it was. But he was telling me that the dude had said that 60% of us gonna end up in corrections. 30% of us is gonna end up dead, and the other 10% of us is gonna end up, what he said, ghetto successful. Some shit like that he said, or whatever. And son was like speaking like, now that we older, he was like, damn, son, I'm like, damn, if that's right, then shit, look where we at. And I remember, son, and here it is, both of us got over 20 years apiece. You know what I mean? That's what we serving. You know what I mean? And he talked about, yo, no, we got another shot at the title and all this type of shit, and we gonna get home and do this and do that. But that ended up never coming into fruition and shit. And but anyway, man, rest in peace to him. You know what I mean? Another dude named Kiki, rest in peace to him, from Ebbsville. He was in DFY. He got killed back as soon as he came home. Shout out to my boy Bro from Fort Greene. You know what I mean? He was like one of the mature motherfuckers out of everybody. And another kid named Supreme from Crown Heights, Supreme Takeover. You know, that shit just bring back a flood of memories. Like DFY was a different kind of hit. It wasn't as rough as the Allen, but it just was like, it was like the beginning stages, we not knowing that shit was preparing us for the Allen. You know what I mean? And speaking of such, I remember even before that, when my moms used to be taking me to, my moms would take me to court, family court, when we was when I was getting arrested as a juvenile. And we'll be going to court. We'll see the Rikers Island buses go past and shit. And my mom's would point out the Rikers Island bus and say, you keep acting up, you keep acting hot, doing what you're doing, you're going to end up on one of them buses. And you know me, I'm playing it. I'm like, I'm chilling. It's no more after this. But we was wilding. We was some hard-headed little motherfuckers, just like these little motherfuckers nowadays. But they hit a little different. And me coming from them kind of experiences and getting caught up into this street shit is why I'm able to see shit from their perspective. And it's not justifying for them, but I do understand, but I don't condone it, which is why, in fact, me, you, Laz, you know what I mean? And you got the brother Saigon, you got my boy King Price. We actually got a song that we put together that we are actually talking to the youth. That shit is fire. It's actually, completed, really. I meant to tell you that, Sex, Laz. But anyway, I ended up on one of them Rikers Island buses that my mother used to point at a few years later. And I'm looking at the very spot that my mother used to point from, but only this time I'm on the Rikers Island side of the bus. You know what I mean? I'm on the Rikers Island side looking at that street. And that shit was crazy. That shit was like, You know what I mean? But anyway, so now I'm on the island, and I'm going to pick up from where I left off in part 2, which was the big yard incident. And I'm glad, lads, because of conflicting schedules, we supposed to been got this done, but I'm glad we didn't, because I end up finding out a little bit more about it. So I'm gonna get back into it. Like I was saying then, you had Rado and you had Heck. They were swinging them ratchets at each other. You know what I mean? I found out later, like recently, that Rado and Heck was already escorted out the yard before the riot popped off. I didn't know that. So that's what I'm hearing now. Okay, cool. So the riot popped off. Everybody, 2-Up is getting destroyed, and literally getting destroyed. It's like at least 3. For every 2-Up a dude, there was like 3 other dudes on them. Everybody, all of them was getting destroyed. One dude got kicked in his face. That shit. People was getting shot, and just so happened, all I know is the ERU squad. They come running out there in full force. Like, they came out there in a way where everybody just knew, stop what the fuck you doing. They wasn't playing. But at the same time they running out, I look over and I see the kid that I had popped on in 4 Main running towards me. I don't know what his move was gonna be, but like I said, ERU came out, everybody halted. They made everybody get on the line, close up, one behind the other. Your shoulders gotta be, your elbows gotta be on the dude in front of you. And they had us running out the yard. Now, just so happened, the kid that I popped on in 4 Main, he was behind me. And his shoulders, his elbows was on my shoulders. He's behind me. At the same time, it's a dude that I was cool with in 2-Upper. He's in front of me. Now, how he ended up, it didn't look like nothing was wrong with him. He must have played dead when that riot happened, because, like I said, 2-Upper got destroyed. But it didn't seem like nothing was wrong with him. And matter of fact, this kid, he from Crown Heights. I used to call him M. But his name was Maka, some shit like that. But somebody told me he passed away, he got killed. I don't know if that's true, but if it is, rest in peace. You know what I mean? When we was in 2-Upper together, he was just a regular dude. But like I said, when I went to the Bing, when I got out the Bing, they put me in 4-Upper, I still sneak up there. I see him, and as time went on, his weight was up, by then. You know what I mean? So he was one of the who's in 2-Upper by then. So, but nothing seemed wrong with him. So now he's like trying to greet me. I don't know why. In a situation like this, you got police all over the place, like on some real Teebone strong arm shit. And then you got this dude behind me. He like whispering shit in my ear, like he's asking me if I'm down with, like, he was naming a clique. It wasn't no Bloods and no Crip, no shit like that. That shit wasn't even out yet. It was like maybe some neighborhood clique. I don't remember what it was. He was just asking me, because I guess he still wondering why the fuck I snuffed him for. Like, I ain't really, considering how we was running with ERU breathing down our necks, I couldn't, really tell him, like, it wasn't nothing personal. You know what I mean? But, so he still trying to talk to me. But I'm on guard, because at the end of the day, even with police being out there and they like daring anybody to make a move, he's still on me, and I know I snuffed him, this dude behind me, so I'm still trying to watch him at the same time I'm running with the line. I end up stepping on the back of the dude M sneaker. I tumble forward. I ain't gonna front. I did not fall off that line. I grabbed him. He ended up falling back into me, and he fell off the line. You know what I mean? And every time I think about that, I think about that Nino Brown shit when he said, I ain't even turned around to see the body drop. All I did was heard this motherfucker screaming. So whatever ass whooping he escaped during the riot, he made up for it when he fell off that motherfucking line. You know what I mean? So I got a little space in between me and the dude that's the next dude that's in front of me. So, I'm running up now, but I'm still on guard for this dude behind me because I'm like, damn, he might pull a stunt. And I know we both gonna get fucked up if he did. You know what I mean? So, but he didn't. We end up making it into the building. So now I'm thinking the show is over. Now you got a bunch of police in the hallway, side by side. We all still got our hands clasped behind our head with our elbows in the front of us. We not touching each other now, but now we walking. And as we walking by the police, they like randomly smacking dudes upside their head. Like they like was on go time. They daring anybody to say anything. And it wasn't like they was smacking everybody upside the head. It was just, you just walk by one. Every police I walked by, I was like, okay, here we go. Like the dude in front of me, I done seen him get smacked upside his head like 3 times. I done heard the dude behind me go a couple of times as well. You know what I mean? How I made it past all them police without getting that same treatment is beyond me. I was just lucky that day. So I go in 4 upper. So here's another fact that I didn't think about when I told you in part 2. I was unaware which incident happened first. One day I was coming from a visit and I was in the A and B gate. And while I'm in the A and B gate, the C gate was open. I'm waiting for the police to buzz me in. It's a kid named L on the phone, and Saquon had came out of nowhere. He came from the other side of 4 upper. I seen when he got at him, but I didn't know what he did to him because the shit was so quick. I just seen him 1 minute behind him, and next minute he broke out. This dude, Saquon, he shot him. He shot the kid. I'm like, oh shit. So now, I was already sentenced. I'm waiting to go up north. I had a 1 1/3 to 4 as a YO. So I was already waiting to go up north. But I'm thinking that I went up north the day after the incident that happened with Saquon and Al. But I had a conversation with somebody, and it was the other way around. I went up north the day after the big yard riot. The day after that, I went up north. The L shit was bugged out because, like I said, that shit happened in front of me. I remember Mark coming back flipping. That was the first time I ever really seen him get hostile. You know what I mean? He was just flipping on me like, yo, how that happened? And
you talking about Puerto Rican Mark from my project?
Yeah, Mark from Howard, little Mark from Howard. Mark had the house, like I explained in part 2. You know what I mean? He had the house. And like I said, he showed me love when I got there. We was in junior high school together. And but he was always smooth with his shit. You know what I'm saying? But this particular day, he was flipping when L. He was in court when L got. When he came back, he armed like about 4 or 5 day room dummies up and have them stand in certain parts of the motherfucking house just in case that C gate open again. Word. And the shit was crazy because like a week before that, this some bugged out shit. Somebody came in the house. I don't know where the fuck they got it from with this big square plexiglass shit. His shit was like some big square shit. That shit was in the house 20 minutes. Dudes broke that up, made about 40 bangers out of that shit. All I know is the very next day, ERU came to the house. Now that could have been random, or that could be what they say, a coinky date. You know what I mean?
Somebody dropped. Niggas saw that new 40 new bangers in the crib. Somebody dropped a slip.
That's a whole fact. That's why I say a coinky date. You know what I mean? But anyway, so the motherfucker, the police, ERU, not the regular COs. The regular COs, they be coming in. Oh, they want to worry about dumb shit. How many pants you got, how many pair of kicks you got sugar in your cell. They just coming in and fuck the gallery up. ERU, they just coming in there for weapons, drugs only, and sometimes just weapons. You know what I mean? So this particular time they came in, and they came in, everybody on the wall, they always give you this opportunity. If you got a weapon, get it, it's over with. No write-up, no nothing. But if we find it, not only do we get a write-up, we gonna whip your motherfucking ass. Yo, this is the first time I ever seen it was no more lines. Everybody got on. Yo, they couldn't even believe it. It was to the point where the police was standing by the door, by the day room door, just letting like 3 or 5, some shit, 3 out of the time, 5 out of the time. Everybody gave up on yo, but it was still some left over. So getting back to the L shit, you know what I mean? They took like about 30 bangers out the house. They took a lot of. They was fucked up.
And that was all bangers that dudes gave up. They ain't do no search.
Everybody gave, yo, it was bangers all over the place. Dude came in with some big plexiglass and broke that shit up into like 1 million pieces.
How big was that shit though, the plexiglass?
You know, it was big enough where you could get about 30 sharp pieces, 30, 40 sharp pieces, because that's exactly what dudes got up out of that shit. Everybody had bangers.
That shit had to be a whole window then. It had to be
it was a whole window. It was a whole window,
yeah.
Literally. And that shit, some dudes, like, when they left that house, they end up coming back again for like the next 2 days after dudes gave, but nobody got written up. They kept their word. They didn't write nobody up, but they came and made the house hot. But anyway, getting back to the L shit, it was still some of them shits left over. So Mark gave like about 3 or 4 day room dummies some of the fucking shits and told, you stand here, you stand here, you stand here. You know, some, yo, like I said, Mark was a cool motherfucker, man. That was the first time I seen him. Me and him had a near fallout one day, and it was my fault. You know what I mean? I was talking to somebody about this kid named Tankhead, not the one from Fort Greene, the one from the Bronx. He was an up-and-comer at that time, you know what I mean? And me and him, we was all right. So it wasn't like I was backbiting, but I was telling him about a fight that me and Mark had in junior high school. You know what I mean? And it was like really a funny shit because he ended up throwing a chair at me and shit, you know, wilding out like a wild Puerto Rican. You know what I mean? So he went back and told Mark. But he put it in a way like if I was trying to shit on Mark, but I really wasn't. You know what I mean? But Mark, being who he is, you know what I mean? He was real genuinely about the whole shit. He called me. You know what I mean? Just me and him. What's up? Yo, son, blah, 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 blah. I didn't deny it because it wasn't nothing to deny. You know what I mean? But the way son made it seem, son was like, nah, don't say nothing. Just to let you know, like, you just got to be careful of what you say, how you say it too, you know, because people probably want to see us get it on or whatever. But at the end of the day, I knew, and I can admit that I wouldn't have had no wins, not with him per se, but he wouldn't have came at me per se. You know, he was able to push buttons. You know what I mean? He had the house. You know what I mean? That's the reason why Tank had told him what I told him in the first place, I guess to try to score brownie points. But I never, you know, said nothing to Tank Head on the strip of Mark. But that was something that I learned from future references.
Who else was in the house from the Ville at that time, though?
At that time, you had Dee Dee. Dee Dee was in the house. As far as the Ville, it wasn't a Brownsville house. You had LL from East New York. You had Puerto Rican Roe. He from the Bronx. Like I said, Shoe Shine had ended up being him out one day. You know what I mean? You had who else you had? That's pretty much it as far as I can remember. You know what I mean? And so it wasn't really a Brownsville house. That house wasn't like 4 up on the other side. They had a real squad over there. You know what I mean? A lot of dudes been around for a while. You know what I'm saying? And I could tell that the people on my side, they wasn't really like, I remember one time a dude barked on a dude from the other side, came on my side trying to bark on dudes. You know what I'm saying? I ain't never seen nobody on my side go there and do that. You know what I'm saying? So, but it was a different kind of house between over there and over here. But after that big riot shit, that's when I went up north. I do want to say one other thing about the big riot shit, because I don't want to run that shit dry. But Saquon he was on a Big Fruit podcast, and he said that, salute to Saquon, and I say this respectfully. He said that I had got it wrong as far as in part 2. Heck and Rado, that they wasn't walking side by side like I explained in part 2. He said that Rado was sitting on the bleachers and Heck approached him. Right, but anybody who was in the big yard knows that if you in the 4 building, like when you come into the big yard, you don't just, it's a small yard that's connected to the big yard. They don't never, ever, I don't know about now or whatever, years later, but back then, anybody who was there tell you, can attest to this. They don't never just have the yard where you go from the building straight to the big yard. They always wait till everybody come out. They pile you up in the small yard first, I guess, and then they open up the big yard. The police that was watching everybody come out, they close the gate, then they go out and they take their little positions in the big yard. Then they start letting us in. Now, as soon as we went out to the yard and we walked all the way to the back, immediately, them two started getting it on. How would Rado have had time to sit on the bleachers? For what? He knew what the fuck he was coming out there for. He knew it was past beyond talking. You know what I mean? He came out there, I mean, he got all the people, all the people he brought with him, he got them all fucked up. You know what I mean? But he came out there knowing what it was. You know what I mean? So he didn't have time to, like, how would that sequence have played out? He's sitting on the bench, Heck approached him. Nah, they both did what they had to do, and they did it. You know what I'm saying? I honestly thought they was tearing each other up, to be honest with you. And now I find out later it was just 2 ripped jackets. You know what I'm saying? They ripped each other jackets. But anyway, but I ended up going up north the next day after that. You know what I'm saying? But salute to Saquon. He got it wrong. I understand. It was 30 years ago. This was 30 years ago. So, you know, the bottom line is what everybody agree on. It was over some shit that happened with Rado. They booked him for some rings. However they booked him, they booked him. You know what I mean? Rado don't even dispute that. You know what I'm saying? And another fact that nobody dispute is that Heck and Rado did go gun for gun. Now, everybody else, depending on what they seen or how they want to, you know, interiorize shit, you know what I mean? That's just what it is. But I'm just saying what I saw. I don't get nothing out of that because I'm really telling the story that I was there for. You know what I mean? So that's my recollection.
You ever seen that video? You ever seen that movie, Vantage Point?
No. Who was in it? Maybe I did see. Who was in it?
I think it's Forrest Whitaker. But basically in that movie, it's just saying, like, you know, people that was in different areas is gonna view and remember shit different ways. You feel me? Sometimes a nigga might just be getting something just completely fucked up. But depending on where you was at, on what angle you was at, you see total different things sometimes. You feel what I'm saying? So some niggas may have not really witnessed a glimpse of Rado and Heck going gun to gun, but other niggas where they was standing at, they saw them 2 niggas tangling. You feel what I'm saying?
Facts.
So, you know, but Rado said them niggas was going gun for gun.
No, I don't think nobody can dispute that. So, like, I didn't know, and I didn't realize that, because I was wondering what happened with him. Rado and Heck. I was wondering what happened to them, but they already got taken out the yard. See, I didn't remember that. And then I was talking to Fruit, and Fruit said, you know, he was there for the Saquon and the incident in Fort Upper with and so if he was there for that, then that means that incident happened before the big yard, because Fruit was already in the Bing by the time the big yard shit happened. See, I had that shit crisscross. I had the big yard shit for happening first. So, you know, memories do, you know, especially if you ain't got no direct, you know what I'm saying, involvement in it. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna forget none of the shit I was directly in, you know what I mean? But that's what it was. But anyway, I'm up north. By the way, I got sentenced to a 1 1/3 to 4. I was as a youth offender, YO. You know what I mean? And when I went up north, instead of, most adolescents, they say they take them to, what's that, green?
They gave you a YO and you caught your case at 16 or you caught it at 15?
No, I'm on the island now. I already did my DFY bid. I'm home already.
Yeah, but so they gave you a YO. You caught this case you caught at 16?
This case I caught at 16.
Yeah, them bastards didn't give me a YO.
By the time I got sentenced, I was 17. You know what I mean? But I caught the case. I had two cases. I had a gun case and I had a robbery case. You know what I mean? So they gave me a 1 1/3 to 4 as a youth offender. You know what I mean? And so, from what I was hearing back then, and even now, you know, adolescents, they go to Green or Washington. I end up in Mid-State. I'm in Mid-State. Ain't too many young motherfuckers there. You know what I mean? But I did meet a few dudes that was around my age, but even they was older than me. And one name was that I remember was this kid named Malik from Fort Greene. He was a basketball playing ass motherfucker. He was nice too. One of the nicest I seen up until that point. You know, later on you see Jim Isis from Harlem. You see my boy VJ from my hood. And
Who you talking about? You talking about V from Langston Hughes?
VJ. No, he ain't from Langston Hughes. VJ from Brownsville Project.
Oh.
You know what I mean? And he was like my height, like 5'11", dunking, and y'all literally dunking, not even in transition, on just through the defense and all that. So was the truth, real shit.
Yeah. Dark skin V from LH, that nigga was busting niggas ass up north. Busting niggas ass. Some one of the best.
You know, it was ballers all over up top. I ain't going front, man. You got Truth supposed to be interviewing motherfucking this kid named Dre. Dre was a baller from out of there, man. Dre was real nice and shit. There's a lot of ballers up north. You find NBA players, NBA type fucking games up there sometimes, man. Real shit. But anyway, getting back to so I'm in Mid-State. Immediately, this was like the first time when I began to feel like racial shit between blacks and Hispanic. Like it wasn't no direct shit. It was like the house that I was in. You know, I don't like coexisting with motherfuckers that I don't like. You know what I mean? Like it seemed like they had the green light to do whatever they want. And the black dudes that was in there, they pissing me off too, cause they arguing with each other over the most dumbest shit. You know what I mean? Meanwhile, these motherfuckers playing Spanish music all loud and all this stupid shit. You know what I mean? I'm sitting there, so I used to be literally, I just didn't like them. You know what I mean? Not because of their race, because it kind of like they put me in that mind frame, because how they was, because prior to, I don't remember ever being like that. You know what I'm saying? And they was just moving to taking mad long with the cooking shit. You know what I mean? Like just doing extra shit, like flaunting their little weight around and
what
shit.
What year was this?
By this time, we in 9-3 now. We in early 9-3.
Yeah, and for the viewers who may not know and understand, like at these times, upstate New York in 9-3, it was a lot of jails was predominantly Latin, and black people were outnumbered in a lot of jails, so it was getting a little bit oppressive. You feel what I'm saying? I was in spots like Franklin where, bro, if you was black and you wasn't Muslim or guard body, you was fair game, my nigga. I'ma keep it real, but I ain't gonna interrupt you. What you was saying?
Nah, I'm listening. I'm smoking. Hold up.
Yeah, but I just want dudes to know. So it's like, this is how racial tension be starting. Like I was in Franklin, they was going upside black dudes' heads. I remember one time we was in a day room and this kid from LH, I think son name was Knowledge. He had came there and he tried to turn the channel from Sports Center or whatever it was they was watching, or he tried to turn it to Sports Center. And like 6-7 Spanish dudes ran down on him like, yo, what the fuck you doing touching the TV? Blah, blah, blah. They surround, he stayed down, just came up like last week. They surrounding him and shit, like, you know what I mean? I'm like, I'm a kid. I'm 17 years old. These niggas is all grown.
I said, man, I can't see this shit go down. I mean, I stepped in the middle of them niggas like, yo, why y'all surrounding the nigga like that? Like, the fuck? All he did, he just came up. He don't know nothing about the TV and all of that. Explain to him how the shit go. And y'all ready to jump on the nigga. So niggas jumped in my face like, oh, that's your man, you riding for him? Or some shit like that.
Wow.
So I said, and these niggas grown ass niggas, bro, like in their 30s. I'm 17. So I said, all right. I slid off, I went, hollered at my son Mike from Harlem. That nigga was dead asleep. I tapped his bed. Yo, niggas acting up. Know what I mean? Son just hit his radiator, popped out the ice pick out his radiator. Know what I mean? Came in the day room half sleep like this. Yo, what's up? Niggas was scared to death of my son Mike. Real talk, cause Mike done stabbed several niggas. Know what I mean? He did some famous stabbings in the state. You feel what I'm saying? But niggas was like, yo, nah, man, Mike, we ain't know that was your peoples, blah, blah, blah. Long story short, the kid from LA was like, yo, bro, real talk, you a real one for that, and I'll never forget you, my nigga. Cause everybody else that was black, that didn't know, son, they looked the other way like, I'm good, I ain't got nothing to do with that. You feel what I'm saying? And they was about to jump on son. And I was like, nah, I can't let them jump on son. And I ain't even know son. But anyway, it was heavy racial tension in Franklin, bruh. Heavily. Saquon was there with me, he'll tell you.
Oh, wow. Yo, but I know in this mid-state shit, dudes did kind of surprise me. Something must have popped off in another block. Because you already seen police, like you could see through the police running. Something happened in another block. I ain't going to say must have, it did. And then all I know, but prior to this shit, it's crazy. I used to fantasize about, because I used to be looking in the yard sometimes, be like, it was a lot of them, but it was enough black dudes where it could have really been a little something that could have went either way. You know what I mean? But the thing is, what made them look deeper, seem deeper, is because they was unified.
Hell yeah.
We was like, okay, we Muslim, or we 5%, or we Brooklyn, or we this, or we that, we uptown. So we was separating ourselves. Meanwhile, they was all as one. So me personally, I wasn't even used to seeing shit like this at that time. You know what I mean? So it was fucking me up. So I was like, damn, I used to think like, how would we defeat? Like in my mind, just to myself. So just so happened this morning when some shit popped off, it just started popping off in my house. Now, I don't know if they started popping off on the black dudes or the black dudes I don't know how it went, but all I know was a little melee in my house. And like I said, this was already a fantasy of mine, so it didn't take me but 1.2 seconds to jump right up in there. I pick up a chair, I'm swinging this motherfucker all around, I'm cracking shit, I ain't get hit. You know what I mean? But I'm moving. I'm saying it's all these adult motherfuckers. Remember, I'm 17. You know what I mean? I'm little. I'm skinny. You know what I mean? But I know how to move. So just so happened when police start rushing our block, I get yanked. I get yanked like in the bathroom. And look, it's this dude. It's a Muslim dude. Me and him will have a major fallout later on down the line. He was, and off of this, like not off of this, because he was cool, but both of us end up getting snatched up this day. But we had a major fallout where I had to scrape him. I had to scrape him about maybe a year and a half, 2 years later after this. You know what I mean? Because he tried some weird shit. He tried to get in when we was in One Main. By this when I came back through. We in One Main. I was in One Main at a time when no suicide aides couldn't work in there. You know what I mean? And everybody, all the suicide aides that was coming down there was getting shot. Only one managed to be able to stay there, and that was Shushan. Shushan came through as a adult, and he was One Main suicide aide for a little minute, and they end up deading him from coming down there, the police. So that shit made shit worse. But just so happened they sent this Muslim dude down there. The only reason why he lived, because I knew him from this incident that I'm telling you about now. So, you know, as a suicide aide, you know, you got more access to the phone. We all in our cells. So we would give him our numbers to call our peoples. You know what I mean? If he wasn't able to bring the phone to us. You know, they didn't have to, you know, you couldn't do that back then. If the police wasn't letting us out, or would he make the phone call for us and shit like that. And he used to be trying to, you know, talk weird shit to dudes' peoples. And he ended up getting scraped for that.
What you mean talk weird to dudes' people?
Like, he was holding on to the number. Like, you gotta write your number down, tell him what you want him to tell your peoples. I guess he was holding on to dudes' numbers. So he'll wait till he get back to his house, and sometimes even while he was there. Why? Because we don't know, we in ourselves. But then dudes start getting complaints. But it was 2 other suicide aides that was working in the morning time. So it could have been them too. But we found out it wasn't, because somebody got their girl to say something where we knew exactly who it was. You know what I mean? But he was a cautious motherfucker. He wouldn't come near nobody's gates, because like I said, suicide aides was getting shot down there, even though he was alright. So I ended up having to get him to my gate. My son Wani from Bushwick, shout out to Wani from Bushwick. You know what I mean? I needed his help in this. So Wani threw a Bible at me, because, you know, we had mad buzz, smoking bud out of Bible paper, fucking whole book, and only like 4 pages left in the whole book. So I didn't ask him to get it for me. I act like I was trying to get it for myself. I got my towel. I'm acting like I'm trying to fish it for myself, but I knew he was walking down. The first time, he just walked right past it. The second time, I got it a little closer to my cell, and then that's when I guess he thought that I was really trying to get the book. When he bent down to get it, I stuck my other hand out and I rugged the shit out of him. You know what I mean? Boom. He looked at me like, oh shit. He knew it. And like I said, me and him was all right, but he started violating. He violated my peoples. He violated the peoples. You know what I mean? Like, he was just doing too much. And it wasn't even like he was trying to kick it on some, yo, what's up with me and you? Like, he wasn't trying to, and that would have been unacceptable as well. But he wasn't even doing that. He was just calling, just saying crazy, retarded shit to chicks. Imagine, you know what I mean? He's sitting there making noises, all kinds of shit from what from what my peoples is telling me, from what he telling everybody peoples the same shit. The only reason why he didn't get shot sooner, because we didn't know who it was. And I was the one pretending, nah, it can't be him. Because he was a cool motherfucker. Now getting back, but before I even get back to where I was at, I ended up getting it on with the police this day. The sergeant, it was a sergeant named Captain, they call them captains on the island. Captain Owens, you know what I mean? Boom. Because the dude bleeding all in front of my cell. They took it from in front of my cell, but then they took me out my cell, took me in the thing. The sergeant, I already knew he was going to pop on me. I took it, as soon as they took off the first cup, I popped on him. But they jumped me. They got their shit off. They jumped me. They got me good too, man. But that was one that I was like, damn, because son was all right with me. And he was all right with me on the strength of what I'm telling you now about the mid-state. When the mid-state shit was popping off, he was getting involved, getting busy too on the Spanish dude. You know what I mean? But we was kind of outnumbered, but we still got, when police came, yo, they were snatching people. Even if I didn't do nothing, they still would have snatched me. Because it was people that didn't do nothing that they snatched. You know what I mean? They snatched a bunch of dudes up or whatever the case may be. But this is where I know son from, because he the one that pulled me when the police came. So when I seen them later on down the line in the 4 building, he went home, came back through. I went home, came back through. When he came, I'm like, oh shit. Yeah, you was in, yeah, nah, son good. That's why he was able to beat us. He wouldn't even lasted that day in one man. He'd have got one opportunity to leave. Dude would have been like, I would have told him, yo, bro, yo, leave. You know what I mean? Seriously, that's how we, oh, now you crazy. Somebody, I was here at 85. You crazy, huh? All right. You know what I mean? But he was able to stay in one man. Hello?
Yeah, I hear you.
He was able to stay in one man because of this. But make a long story short, getting back to, I'm all over the place with it. So I'm in, I ends up in, they take us out to jail, like what we had on. They take us out to jail to another jail. Then they took us out to jail that next morning, and I know I end up in Clinton. We in Clinton box, you know what I mean? I don't get no ticket yet, nothing. I have the same shit that I had on. Like literally, they were just, when we went to the other spot, I believe they gave us some shit. I forgot. I don't remember clearly. But we was only there for like overnight, and then I end up in Clinton. I was only in Clinton for about maybe 3-4 days. I got my ticket in Clinton, but I didn't get a chance to fight my ticket because they called me down to go back down to Rikers Island. Now, remember I told you I got out of DFY before I came through on the island. I used to have to go see, I forgot what they call it. You know, it's not called parole or probation, but when you get out of DFY, you got to go see like one of them type of motherfuckers every week or every 2 weeks. And I went like 2 or 3 times and I stopped going. And be honest with you, I forgot all about the shit. But they called me down for that, which was a waste of everybody's time. Nothing happened with that. I ended up being on the island for 3 weeks. About 3 weeks, almost a month. By this time, it was like near nearly the summertime of 9/3. And it was an eventful 3 weeks. They sent me to Fort Upper. Now, mind you, Fort Upper is the house that I went up north from. But by the time I get down there, it's not the same people there. Not one person that was there when I was there was there. It was only like 15 people in the house. You had this kid named Man, he had the house. I knew 2 dudes. I knew this kid named N.A. who was there. You had this kid named Boo from Bushwick. He was there. I already knew him too. So when I came in, you know, they showed me love and shit like that. But that was one of them type of houses that, yo, like dudes was getting pressed at the door. Like dudes getting ran out of that house regularly. Like straight jacket. Out of 30-something cells, it was only 15 cells that was occupied. Nobody wasn't living in that house. That real shit. They ended up closing that house down like maybe a few days, maybe a week after maybe about a week and a half after I got there, they closed. No. Probably about 2 weeks after I got there, they closed the house down. You know what I mean? They sent me, Boo, and like I think like two other dudes. We end up going to Martin Lower. And Martin Lower back then, I believe they just opened it like as a program house for Muslims. Like one side was adolescents and the other side was adults. And I believe 10 Upper at that time was for Christians. Same thing, one side adolescents, adults. But of course, you know, dudes are still doing what they do in them houses. So they sent me down there with Boo. We didn't want to be down there. I wanted to get the more 9. You know, the Peoples was down there. H.O. was down there at the time. At least so I thought. Rob Bills was down there. Lil Rob was down there. You know, Brownsville was in the building down there. So I definitely wanted to get down there because I knew my days was numbered on the island. I knew I was about to go back up north. All I came for, I had this, I don't even want to call it a warrant. I just had to straighten the shit out with the fucking DFY shit. That shit ended up disappearing. Never heard about that shit again. So I was waiting to just go back up north. So I just wanted to spend the last few days with the peoples. So now, little do I know, Mar 9 had just got ran out of 10 Lower. They had closed Mar 9 down and they had moved like half of them or some shit like that to 10 Lower. So they came down there trying to flex their muscle from what I heard. You had this kid named Jamaican Lion. He had that house. He had Mar 10 Lower. So, you know, Hamo and Rod went down there too, but they went on a visit. While they was on a visit, the whole Mar 9 got flipped on. All them dudes that was from Mar 9 that went to 10 Lower, Lion had all them dudes got shot, they got done dirty. You know what I mean? I didn't know this at the time, or did I? I'm not sure if I did or didn't, but whatever the case is, now I'm in 10 Lower. This is maybe like a little while after that happened.
You said this is 9-3 still?
9-3 still. This is 9-3. All this is 9-3. We not in 9-2 no more. We not even in. We this is like right before the summer. Like right before the summer. It was kind of hot out. It was nice outside. So it was like middle 9-3. So now so we in 10 Lower. Me, Boo. So we didn't want to be down there, so we call ourselves popping off, just regular shit, nothing major, just enough to get us up out of there. We ain't even unpacked, no nothing. You know what I mean? Boom. They knew what it was. They ain't do us dirty. It was actually fun, to be honest with you. So me and Boo, we end up in the motherfucking hallway with our bags. And a few minutes, like maybe like 20 minutes, because we waiting for the captain to come to tell us where we going. We tell him we want to go to Mar 9, whatever. Matter of fact, Mar 9 was in Mar 7 at the time. Mall 9 had a leak in the ceiling, some shit like that. So they moved Mall 9 to Mall 7. Now Mall 7, if you remember, that used to be a PC house. But Mall 7, they closed that down as a PC house. That house was empty. So I guess they needed room for Mall 9, being that they got ran out of 10 Lower, and they put them in Mall 7. So nobody really liked it to say, yo, I'm trying to get to Mall 7. Even though Mall 9 was in Mall 7, you still said Mall 9. You know what I'm saying?
They moved Mall 7 to Mall 8 at that time. Mall 8 was one side PC, one side M.
And do you remember when they moved Mall 9? Because it was like a Mall 9, they moved them. I heard it was like a leak or some shit in the ceiling. They moved them to 10 Lower. That incident happened where 10 Lower ran all of them out. And then they moved them to Mall 7. But you know, nobody really liked it to say Mall 7. You be in Mall 7, what house you in? I'm in the 9. You know what I mean? But it is what it is. But me and Boo, we in the hallway. We about to tell the police. We trying to get to the 9. And we trying to get to the 9. And while we in there, while we waiting, Lion come out with his bags. He got this big ass bag. So he was like, yo, look, see, he basically was saying like we made it hot for him. They say he had to pack up too, because he was there during the Mall 9 incident. So I guess they told him if something else happened, they gonna pack him up and send him back to 2 Lower. I heard that's where he came from, the high classification house, 2 Lower. So I was looking like the shit wasn't even that serious. The shit was like 30 seconds, if that. So we like, when the captain come, we gonna speak on your behalf. Like, nah, that shit ain't nothing. We just wanted to leave. So all right, no problem. He goes back into the house with his peoples or whatever. And we got me, Boo, and we got one of the dudes with us. So, you know, the other dude, he got up. I ain't gonna front. He went in Lion bags. You know what I mean? He start tossing feline suits. Like I said, I don't need none of that shit. I'm about to go up north. I ain't even take nothing. You know what I mean? Boo might have took an outfit or two, but he was like, nah, put that shit back. You know, he nodded, but he might have took an outfit or two. And then he, you know, it was nothing. Lion came out. It's like he knew something. He looked in his bags, but he got so much shit. I don't think he realized that he missing anything right then and there. So he nodded his bag back up. He sat on his bags. We all kicking it. So now the captain came, and you know, we explained to him like, yo, nah, we just don't want to be here. He ain't do nothing. So they let him go back in the house. They told him, and I heard him say, yo, one more incident, you out of here. You know what I mean? They put him back in the house. They sent me and Boo, they sent us to Mall 9. Well, not Mall 9, Mall 7, which, you know, they sent us there. And, huh?
No, I was laughing.
Yeah. You know, they sent us there. And like I said, I was there but by the time I got there, Hamo, Ra, my boy Robin, he wasn't there. They wasn't there no more. You know, it was a couple of dudes there. But like I said, I was there for a couple of days. Oh, one day, I'm going on a visit. How I see now, we got this kid named Buck. He had 10 upper. We went to school together and shit like that in 284 and shit, public school and shit. But he had 10 upper. He was in 10 upper. Cause when I walked past, he like, yo, what up, Teebone? What up, son? You know what I mean? Boom. I heard him say, why y'all following my man? I turned around, me and the other kid, I see like, it looked like the whole 10 Lower was after us. I ain't got time to be sitting there swinging this one little ratchet against all the motherfuckers or explaining like, yo, I ain't even take none of his shit, but I knew what it was about. You know what I mean? So me and I don't know why the other kid ran, but we took off. You know what I mean? We took off, we got away or whatever. It was nothing.
What you mean? Y'all took off down the corridor?
Did we? Did we? You know what I mean?
And what? It ran back down into the 789 building?
No, we was already coming out the building. We was coming from, we was in Mall 9, well, Mall 7. We was in Mall 7 coming up out of the house. We was on our way to a visit. It was me and some other kid. He wasn't nobody, you know what I mean? But we was walking to the visit together. And we just so happened, 10 upper was coming from somewhere, maybe the mess hall. They had their house. They was on a line. I'm walking past, my boy Buck was in the front of the line. He was like, yo, son, what up? I they was on their way to 10 Upper. We walking in opposite directions. I'm walking towards the visit. They walking back towards the opposite, you know what I mean, where I just came from. Because they got to walk past Mar 9 and all that to get to the 10 building. You know what I mean? So now he said, yo, why y'all fall creeping on my man? Some shit like that. I turn around and I see 10 lower, like really, but I had enough room. It wasn't like they was.
How many niggas you said it was?
It looked like the whole house. I don't want to say and exaggerate. I ain't gonna say it was the whole house, but they was deep. You know what I mean? Me and my one little razor wasn't enough. They was deep, and they was coming. You know, and I knew why they was coming. And even though I ain't even take nothing, I knew why they was coming. And so me and the kid, we took flight. Like I said, the kid ain't had nothing to do with it, but they probably would have did him dirty. So it was probably in his best interest to do what the fuck I did. And we was gone. You know what I mean? And police, they ain't make it past the gate. Oh, well, nothing. I went on my visit. That was that. So now, like 2 days later, like I said, I'm already waiting to go back up north. You know how they come get you for court early in the morning? They came to get me for up north early in the morning. My number played. I'm going up north. So now I'm looking behind me because I just, with the 10 lower dudes, I'm on point for these dudes. So as I'm looking behind me, we stopped by the 2 building to pick up some dudes from over there. You know what I mean? They coming downstairs, but I'm still looking to see. I don't see nobody on the line from the 10 building that I can recognize. And so I'm looking behind me. As I'm looking behind me, one dude, but I seen it coming because I'm already on point. I'm already on point for the 10 lower shit. But this other kid tried to swing on me, this kid named Crazo from the Bronx. And the reason why he tried to swing on me is because, remember when I said when I first came down from up north, they put me in 4 Upper. He was one of the dudes that got ran out. And I wasn't even going to participate in his run out. But something happened, but police didn't move him. And when we was in 4 Upper, and they locked him in his cell. So I guess when he came out after the count, or whenever he came out of cell, he came out swinging he had a sock. He had a sock with later on, we seen that it was batteries in the sock. It was, the little hair pomade they used to sell in commissary. It was that, it was one of them. He had that, but we didn't know what he had. All I know, he backing the whole house down with that shit. Kind of remind me in that belt situation. But I'm behind him. I'm on the phone, so he backing the house down or whatever, and he turned around, and dudes, and I sidelined him. Boom, you know what I mean? So once I sidelined him, we all stomping him out or whatever the case may be. So he ended up leaving the house. But that was like regular shit. So I didn't ever think, I forgot all about him. I didn't even think nothing of it. So just so happened the day that I'm going back up north, I'm on point of the 10 lower dudes. This dude came down there, he seen me, he tried to swing on me, but like I said, I was already on point. So me and him getting it. I'm whipping his motherfucking ass. Salute to Crazo, because he became my boy later on down the line. But, I got the best of him. So now, once police went to break it up, a dude that had nothing to do with it, Shadow is the reason why he got that name, but I'll let, somebody else tell that story. But he come, he called himself looking on.
What you said about Shadow?
Shadow.
What about Shadow though?
I said this kid. I was telling you about this kid named Ragtop who tried to pop on me because me and Crazo was getting it on, but police broke it up. That shit was pretty much over, but he came out of nowhere and started trying to hook on. You know what I'm saying? I ain't even having. I guess that's his man. He did what he had to do, whatever. But I said his name is Ragtop. I said from what I understand, Shadow is the reason why he got that name. And I'll leave it at that. You know what I mean?
But anyway, where you said the kid is from?
I don't know where this kid from. I don't know the kid. I ain't know him before that day. Or only reason why I know him because, like I said, we end up getting it on. You know what I mean? But I end up going up north. I was going up north that morning. I was going back up north. So I end up in Clinton. So now I end up back where I was at. So now by this time, mind you, I still got this ticket. But the ticket ain't saying nothing that I did. It's just saying that I was involved in a riot with numerous inmates and nothing. It ain't saying nothing about the chair I had, nothing. So the adults that's in there, they telling me how to fight it or whatever the case may be with all this Johnny Cochran shit, with the papers to act for and all that shit. You know what I mean? But when I went to my hearing, I had this old broad. Yo, I didn't have to use none of that shit that they said. I don't even remember if I said if I was guilty or not guilty. All I do, this whole shit was about my age. As soon as I walk in the door, I remember her asking me how old I was, what year I was born. Now I'm still 17. I'm like 1975. I know that shit sound ancient now, but that's like a motherfucker now telling you he was born in 2005. You know what I mean? But back then in early '93. Mid '93, that shit still sound mad young. You know what I mean? So she was like, "Yo, you going to school?" Like she was more or less like concerned with if I'm going to school and all that type of shit. Like if she was my counselor, I don't even remember if we conducted the hearing because I was basically gonna say I'm young, I don't know what's going on. Like I'm gonna use my age to beat this shit, but I end up beating it. Without it, like I said, I don't remember if I said guilty, not guilty. The whole shit was about my age, how old I am. She gonna get me in school and all this type of shit. And I end up on lower F company. I end up on lower F company 4 cell. And the reason why I remember that cell precisely. Oh, I forgot to tell you something.
This was 9-3 when you was on lower F?
Lower F.
I was on lower F in 9-3 too.
What month?
That's my
By this
word.
time, it's the summertime. Now, I was about to sit here and say I was the youngest motherfucker in the spot, but since you were about a few months younger than me.
No, but when I was there, it wasn't lower F. Nah, it wasn't all Key Block.
Nah, lower F4 company was the new when you first get there, from what I understood.
Yeah, when I came to Clinton, I still owed 10 box days according to them, which I felt was a mistake because I was in Comstock, Keep Lock for like 60 days, bro. How y'all telling me that I still owe 10 days box days? So them niggas didn't let me go to a medium. They sent me to lower F in Clinton and made me do 10 days. First they tried to send me to the box in Clinton. Some shit popped off and they ain't have no room in the box. You feel what I'm saying? So they sent me to lower F and they said, yo, you're gonna do 10 days Keep Lock in lower F and then you're gonna go to your medium. So I don't know why, but I remember when I got there, I remember like them cells was twice the size as a Comstock cell. I was like, yo, these cells big as a motherfucker.
I remember that whole, at that time, my pops was nearing the end of his bid, like 12 and a half to 25. He was in fifth skill, and I remember we had communication. He's writing me, I can't believe you walking through the same halls that I used to walk through. Like, I can't believe they got you there. Like, he was bugging up over that shit. But, like I said, the reason why I remember that cell so precisely, because what I forgot to tell you was I never got none of my shit from Mid-State. When I was in Mid-State, I was pretty much all right. You know what I mean? My mom was coming. You know, my mom was, you know, she was younger. You know what I mean? I had my family support. You know what I mean? I was all right. I had food. In my matter of fact, I had just got a package not too long before this happened. I might have got one meal out that shit. But I never saw none of my shit. None of my state clothes. Not even the state clothes.
So
nothing.
Once you go down to court, it's a wrap. Niggas is stealing all of that.
But this is before the court. I'm talking about, remember, we left the jail and went to another jail. And then from that jail, we went to Clinton. I never even saw my shit. And then from when I was in Clinton, supposedly waiting for my shit, I end up going back down to court for another month. Then I come, so my shit was just gone. So now, but peep this shit. So this is crazy. I goes into the cell that I'm in. The cell from the outside looking in looks like it's none. But when I open up the, you know, I said a locker, but it was a bag to the side. And the bag had mad cigarettes, cosmetics. Now, mind you, I don't got nothing but state clothes. They gave me state clothes because they seen that I ain't have none. They lost all my shit. So I'm looking at the shit. I'm like, oh, shit. I told one motherfucker, this dude next door to me, me and him, it's crazy. Me and him was going to Clinton together, but I was in the box. But he happened to be my neighbor, so that's why I know him from when we was traveling up to Clinton. So I should have never told him shit. But I end up Make it so now that's mine now. I'm keeping all that. I think I gave him a pack of cigarettes and said, don't ask me for nothing else. He started asking me, no, that's a wrap. So now, while I'm going to the mess hall, I runs into this kid from my projects. He had an 83 number. 83. He been gone for 10 years, plus not counting the time he was on the island. I was wondering where this motherfucker was at. His name was Eric. But he made it quick fast. They call me King Wise now. He told me his name was King Wise. I know his ass is Eric. You know what I mean? But I called him Wise because, that's what he wanted to be called. Another one of my people is this kid named Larry, better known as L.A. He from out of Vanderbilt, but he moved to Brownsville like in the 80s sometime. And, dudes tried to flex him over there, but he did what he had to do, made a name for himself. That's the big bro right there and shit. And he was in Clinton at the time, too. They all were surprised to see me there, you know what I mean? Because, I'm a little motherfucker to these dudes, you know what I'm saying? So I come in, I'm in Clinton and shit. And, not too long after, knowing they there, a Spanish dude came to me. He asked me, was there anything in my cell when I got there? Man, a lot of that shit wasn't even there no more. I was like, nah, it wasn't nothing in there. And then he spent off, it wasn't nothing. So now, the dude, I ended up telling my boy Wise about it. The dude, King Wise, I was like, yo, he was like, word. So boom. Cigarettes wasn't as much as they was back then. I think they were like $3 a pack, if that. You know what I mean? $4 a pack, some shit like that. But anyway, so I hit him off, but he got me some bud and all that. He made sure I was good and all that. And he just said, don't tell nobody. So meanwhile, this neighbor of mine, he asked me for a cigarette. I don't got none. I don't smoke cigarettes, so I don't understand his pain. You know what I mean? But one day while I'm in the yard, you know what I mean? Now, when I was on my way to Clinton, it was a Dominican dude that was cuffed next to me. He was shackled to me. And I remember when we was talking on the bus, and he was like, yo, you going to Clinton? Why they got you going to Clinton? You so young. He was an older dude. You know what I mean? I didn't really want to give him no conversation. First of all, I wasn't too fond of this old dude trying to talk to me, so I'm like looking out the window while he talking. But he was being, I was being cordial and shit. He fell asleep. I remember him snoring like a motherfucker. I remember the police banging on the gate. He was snoring so loud. I'd rather him be up talking in my ear than snoring. But anyway, I guess that was a rapport, because we used to see each other around the jail. We say, what's up? But that's it. So one day in the yard, he asked to speak to me. And he was like, yo, you had some stuff in your cell? Now, mind you, this is coming up again. So now I'm like, nah, why you saying that? He was like, nah, because it said that something was coming and you was acting, you said no, and I was like, nah, it was nothing in my cell. He said, because you got these dudes ready, I'm trying to stop dudes, make this. I'm like, what? Like dude trying to hit me and want to hit me or something over this shit. So now what I did was, I went to Wise, yo, Wise, So now Wise, he make us feel, he like, yo, listen, son said he didn't have nothing in his cell, and that's that, or whatever the case may be. So now another dude, dudes is actually sitting here discussing this shit, and I'm sitting here feeling like I'm on trial or something. So now this older dude came, his name was Ali Sham. I never spoke to him before, but I knew who he was because Wise already pointed him out to me. So he came like with a different kind of energy. Like he didn't want to negotiate. He didn't want to compromise or nothing. He was like, the brother said there was nothing in the cell. If he said it was nothing, it's nothing. Now where we going from here? Just like that. And every time the dudes tried to explain, but he was still, he said, I knew it was my neighbor because I stopped giving him cigarettes until he stopped talking to me or whatever. And I gave him a pat on the arm, like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? But he was like, every time the dude, including the dude that was shackled with me, tried to like talk, he would just overcut them and be like, nah, like it is what it is. And then after they walked away, here go Wise. Yo, Teebone, yo, you can't, I don't know if you, truth or not, but if for future references, So Ali Sham, he's sitting there listening to him, I guess, schooling me, and I'm going along with it. Like, but he doing too much. He like acting like he had me fucked up. Man, he knew about the shit the whole time, but I guess he was trying to. When Ali Sham left, he's still talking that shit. I'm like, yo, knock it off, bro. Like, he gone now. Like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? But they end up. Clinton turned out to be alright. Like, I ain't have no problems other than that. I remember they end up sending me to Clinton Annex. Rado was there. I ran into Rado. I wasn't supposed to be in Clinton anyway, so I knew my days was numbered. They told me that I was waiting for a medium. You know what I mean? Boom. But I was only in there for about maybe a week and a half. They packed me up. They told me I was going to Lincoln. I didn't know what that was. The motherfucker said, that's work release. You're leaving tomorrow or whenever I was supposed to leave. And back then, they was giving work release for violent crimes. I never put in for this shit. I never asked for this shit. I didn't even know about this shit. They just gave this shit to me. All I know is once they said I got a chance of going home and I was going to the board like the end of that year, I was like, man, listen, what I'm going to do? I can't refuse if I wanted to. With Lincoln, here the fuck I come. You know what I mean? So I didn't let nobody know shit. I know dudes wake up the next day, where Shorty went, where he went. I know Rado went, where Teebone at? I was gone. You know what I mean? So now I go to work release, and this is where this is where I kind of like really should have really started being focused. I wish I really would have had that older influence that could really because this was my shot right here. When I went to work release, I remember them telling me, like, you supposed to get a job. They told me all I had to do was go to school. Don't even worry about a job. Now, I tried to go to the regular school that I went to, Maxwell, before I got locked up, but they wasn't trying to hear none of it. So I end up going to Maxwell anyway, but at nighttime to a GED school. I'm in the class with a bunch of grown-ups. This shit bored as fuck. You know what I mean? Boom. So I start missing school. So now this work release place, they calling the school. One day they told me to come in on the day where I wasn't even supposed to come in. And I just never went back to school, nor did I ever go back to the work release shit. So now I'm officially on a run. And this is why I say I should have changed my shit. And that's why I say the song that we doing last is meant to talk to people like how we were, and hopefully they get something out of it, because we grow up hearing about a lot of people saying don't do this or don't do that, but we don't understand the level of what we're doing and what that can lead. We don't understand the longevity of the negativity that we're doing. And I was lost. I had no sense of direction. I just wanted to be in them streets. I was just trying to make a name for myself. And like Ron Deuce said, back then it was about brawn over brain. You know what I mean? And that's just what it was. And salute to my boy Ron Deuce. That's the bro right there. And I ended up on that Rikers Island bus. That's how I ended up on that Rikers Island bus, thinking I knew every motherfucking thing. And here I go with even being on Rikers Island, seeing the shit I seen, being in Clinton, I still end up at this work release shit. And my thirst to play this street game overrode anything else. Went to the point where I stopped going to school. I wasn't thinking about no GED. I'm out here trying to get money. I'm out here booking shit. I'm out here getting in all type of shit. The GED was the last thing on my mind. And I ended up back on that island. And mind you, remember I told you I had a YO. As a YO, once you finish your bid, your records is sealed. You could be anything you wanted to be. I didn't understand that at that time. Like I said, the street life outweighed anything else. It was no rationalizing with me. And I was a smart kid, but I was just moving in stupid directions. And, and let me address one more thing, because I'm about to end this. I want to salute the Shaw Wells. He said in his thing about when he, the reason why he played adolescent is because the adults was boring. Now, I never heard no sucker shit about him. Son is a G. So that might be the case for him. But when a dude like him say that, then you got suckers that try to say that as well. That wasn't the case for everybody. You know what I mean? Some dudes didn't want to go to adults because they were scared to go to adults. That HDM hit was different. I went to adults in 1997 for the first time, coming back down from up north, and that was the first time in my whole bed where my razor felt irrelevant. You know what I mean? The first person I ever stabbed was in HDM because that's the game that they play. It was a different level of brutality there. So everybody did not refuse adults because it was bored. Some people refused it because they just didn't want they didn't want to experience that HDM life. And that's facts. And you can even ask Sean Wells that.
I done seen niggas basically get on their knees and beg the captain not to send them to HDM. Know what I mean? Yeah. When niggas turn 19 in the 4 building, they come for you.
That's a whole different hit. And the crazy shit is you can't judge the adults that's in the 4 building because most of them is about to go up north. They don't really want to go to the H themselves, so they're not really trying to go hard. Every now and then a couple slip through the cracks, but they on a different type of time. They just got to worry about adolescent, but that adult life, yo, it's too many different buildings. It was a different level of brutality. When you walk into the HDM block, that shit is like some shit in the movie. You see people on different tiers. You see 20 Fruquans. You see 20 Ron dudes. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's different. You know what I mean? When you talk about dudes like, you know, like Baby Sam, you know, Johnny Ray, those dudes from Born Son, them dudes wasn't playing Dominican Caballo. You had the Ron dude from the Bronx. Who else? Fly Tie from Queen. Like, it was a different level of brutality in that shit. And they was fucking bitches in there. They was getting everything they was doing in the 4 building, they was doing in there, but on a higher level. So ask yourself, why a lot of them don't want to go there? I ain't never you word coffee. Get one of them dudes to tell a story. The word coffee won't be mentioned. And that's just a fact. Now, I'm not going to say that's the case for Shaw Wells. Like I said, I never heard no sucker shit about him.
You know, it was other buildings, though. Like, you know, some niggas land in HDM, but they also had C73 and motherfucking 95.
Only the buildings is popping.
Yeah, they was popping, but, you know what I mean? They not popping like adolescents. You not coming up on no garments. You not coming up on no garments. Niggas, a lot of niggas was playing the 4 building, bro, for garments and jewelry, bro.
Nah, but later on down the line, when I became adult, every time I was in an adolescent, I was an adolescent. I never was in an adolescent as an adult. So when I was in an adult, everything that I seen, I used to think that too. I used to be like, yo, if I turn adults, I'm gonna play adolescent. I used to say that shit.
Niggas was able to get away with that shit in 9-2 and 9-1 and not because the system was fucked up where you could just tell them niggas anything.
You saying you can't get away with that shit now?
Hell no, you can't get away with that shit. Nigga, they got the fingerprint shit, it's computerized now. You can't, back in 9-1, 9-2, you could literally come through and say, my name Donald Duck, I'm 16. And they gonna send your ass to the 4 building, bro. So niggas was getting...
You can have gray hairs coming out. I remember 9-4 was this dude named Sha something. It was railing them people. This dude was like 27 years old, bro. Like, what are you doing here? You know what I mean?
Niggas was coming. You know why that was happening, bro? Because dudes been doing that. And it was dudes that was 16 when they was in the 4 building and they got taken advantage of by niggas who was 24 and 25. So when they became 24 and 25, they like, nigga, I'm going to get me some sneakers, some motherfucking garments. But then we also got to keep in mind that there was a lot of adolescents, like niggas like Fruquan and niggas that really was 16 and 17 that was blowing adults' heads off.
Yeah, that's a fact.
You feel me? So it really still was a fair playing ground because just because you was an adult in the 4 building didn't mean that a 16-year-old nigga won't blow your whole shit off, bro. You feel what I'm saying?
It has happened on many occasions.
Many a times.
It happened in
Come on, son. Bugs in them niggas. Like niggas. I've heard stories where niggas was targeting the adults. Niggas was going over there, running in them niggas' cribs and robbing them and blowing their heads off and running back to the adolescent side.
No, but like I was trying to tell you, and that's true. We did that. I participated. We left out. We done left out the house, and many times when I was in Two Upper, when I came back through, we left out the house with the intentions. First adult house we see we popping on. You know what I mean? But like I was saying, it was a different level of adults. Like the adults that was in the building, you had some that was on go time, but they wasn't.
The 4 building adults was laid back. They had their own mess hall. You understand what I'm saying? They was laid back.
The adults that was in them other buildings, they not worrying about getting kicked out of motherfucking the 4 building.
Yeah,
they on a different type of. That's all they was on a different type of mind state.
Yeah, niggas was still young in HDM too though. Niggas was 19, 20 years old. Niggas still.
Dudes 24, 25. I remember when I came through 9-7. Shout out to my boy Chris Benjamin. He was in Mod 2. I mean not Mod 2. 2 Block. With the big ass bracelet on and shit, and he was a young dude. So there's a lot of young dudes there in their early 20s, but I just want to kill a narrative that so everybody don't trust because Shawel said it, because that might have been the case for him. And that was the case for a lot of dudes. But that wasn't the case for everybody, because I done talked to dudes in the street that be trying to run with that narrative. And
a lot of niggas was playing adolescent to avoid HDM, period. But back in them days, they was sending niggas to the Bing from C74 to HDM anyway. You feel what I'm saying? To the Bing. So niggas was kind of familiar with HDM and how it got down. You understand what I'm saying? So niggas would bring them stories back like, yo, you don't want to go over there, my nigga. Your razor don't hold no weight in HDM, my nigga.
Don't forget to join my new game channel, Brooklyn Arcade. You heard? If you wasn't in dangerous game rooms risking your life to play some of these video games, you might be lost up in here. You feel what I'm saying? If you wasn't 10, 11 years old sneaking up in Playland on a Deuce or in Times Square going down in that dirty train station to play them games down in there, you might be lost, Lord.